usually like a lot of followers will ask like, Kenapa Lelaki Melayu, right? Or what made you interested about a Malaysian or a Malay guy? And actually my answer is the same every single time. I think at that point, when Amir and I met, I didn't even know that much yet about Malaysia. So it's not like, you know, like I was like, oh, I have to find a person from a certain area. I did not have any preferences, wishes, I don't know, to meet someone from that country or that country. Sebab ada as well. Ada orang that are like, oh, my husband has to be Korean, or my husband has to be Japanese, or my wife or something. I'm not like that at all. So for me, I don't care. Tapi, what is important is the personality to me. So there are some things that are like, that is a must for me. And of course, that can also be associated with your culture. So family-oriented, being a kind person, you know, thinking about other people. So those are definitely things that sekarang, now from the perspective, after I pindah to Malaysia, I can see more about the Malaysian culture. I see that that has to do with the culture as well, of course. Tapi in general, I was not like, to find like an Asian boyfriend or husband because they are family oriented, not like that, because there are different people all over the world, right? Just because you're orang Melayu or orang German, that doesn't mean that you're exactly how we imagine the stereotype. For me, that was not so important. But Amir in general is very, very kind. He has a very, very kind heart, and he is at the same time very open-minded. So we have intercultural relationship. It's like super important to be open about each other's differences and cultural differences. So ada ramai orang yang tanya saya, macam mana saya boleh handle an intercultural relationship, or they're like, oh, I'm in an intercultural relationship, what are the things I need to look out for? I think probably not every personality type is suitable for an intercultural relationship, because you must be very open-minded and you have to understand that you cannot judge a culture. So I always say, you can say something is super different, like, wow, this is new to me, this is macam, oh, apa tu, right? But you cannot say it in a way where apa tu in a judging way, okay? Only in a way that like, wow, that is new to me and it's different. So whenever, even when I travel or when we travel, both of us, we will always look at it from a neutral perspective. So don't judge a culture just because you're not used to it or because you're not familiar with it. Maybe some things are practiced in a different way in your home country. Do not judge other people's culture. And in a relationship, it's even more important because you're gonna share your life with that person. When you get married, you live in the same house, you're gonna raise kids together, your families also become one family, right? So you have to be open-minded about that and as well learn not to judge. And the cool thing about intercultural relationships is that you can always pick and choose the best things, you know? So macam, I think one thing that's good for our relationship from the German perspective is that we're quite direct with each other. So Germans were memang macam, yo ada masalah, let's talk about it, settle it, and that's it, you know? And I think we are like that. At least for me, I never realized, but Amir will always say, oh, my wife is so direct. For me it's normal, right? Because I grew up with that. And I think it's pretty good because we don't really discuss topics for very long. It's like, okay, maybe I have that and that issue, or I don't like this and that. Let's settle it. Done, you know? So you can always see what you really like about that or what you really appreciate about that, and it has an impact on you. So even though I'm German, I also have roots in Kazakhstan. So maybe for me that helped a bit because the culture from the Soviet Union back then, where my parents came from, is closer to the Malaysian culture than maybe the German culture. So about Germany and Malaysia, like Amir would always say, is two different worlds. It's really different. So, okay, maybe I can give you an example. Okay, macam sini, your parents-in-law, you'll say mama or ma or ibu, yes, even though it's your mother-in-law, right? In Germany, people don't do that. So people will usually, at least nowadays, still call their mother-in-law by their first name. So maybe the first name is Susanna. They'll be like, hello Susanna, how are you doing? In my parents' culture from Kazakhstan, it is also normal to call your parents-in-law mother or father. So for me, that didn't come as a surprise when I moved here. But now I'm thinking maybe if I was 100% German, that would have been a bigger shock. or a bigger difference. So I have that advantage a bit, but I still grew up in Germany. So I in certain things, I feel it. It's really, I must say, like, it's such a privilege to be also mixed or grow up in different places, because you learn those differences since you're small. So you learn understanding that every culture is different. And now a part of me also becomes Malaysian, right? Because I'm living here, I'm married to a Malaysian, and I'm part of a Malaysian family. And it's so nice to see, even though like I have zero Malaysian blood, I don't have a Malaysian citizenship whatsoever, but a part of me still becomes Malaysian. A part of me like adjusts to that, learns from that, loves it here as well. So it's really beautiful, because I don't want to become too sentimental or something like that, but this world, I mean, the beauty of it is that we have so many different people from different countries, different cultures, different languages, you know. Like even to belajar bahasa Melayu, okay, maybe I'm belum fasih, but I'm on the way, and even to learn all the different words, it's such a blessing. It's always a blessing to learn something new, and your horizon just becomes wider, and the way you think, the way you look at the world changes. So I can definitely encourage people, if you can travel, definitely travel, and try to travel without being judgmental. Because whenever you go somewhere, even though you're like maybe macam, why do people do this? It's so strange, we would never do that at home, okay? Some people will be judgmental and be like, oh, bodoh, why do they do it like this? In Germany, it's pretty common to wear a slipper at home, or we call it house shoe. By the way, this house shoe, you only wear it at home, okay? So it's a clean shoe, but maybe some Malaysians will be like, kenapa, right? Like, why are you wearing a house shoe at home? It's because sometimes our floor is cold, because it's a cold country. So it makes sense. At the same time, maybe in Malaysia sometimes, you know, the pedestrian walk, sometimes it will be suddenly, it will go down. And maybe the first time you come, you'll be like, why? Then you live here for a while, or maybe you're even traveling here for a while, and you realize that the rain is super heavy, maybe not like in Europe. So you also need to think of ways how you can prevent a flood, right? So wherever you go, you must not necessarily agree with it, but you must understand that usually there's a reason for something. Oh, ada satu benda. There is a big cultural difference, okay, between Germany and Malaysia. Okay, in Germany, you are raised, of course it depends on family, okay? Everything I say, it always depends on individuals and family, but the tendency is more that you will raise your child in a way that they make their own decisions, okay? So you try to give them freedom so they learn and are prepared for the life of adulthood, so to say. Even when I was like in high school, the teachers would always be like, you know, it's your A-levels that you're taking, it's your responsibility. So if you are not performing well, it's your future. And I think parents are, not to say that parents are not involved, but parents do not make that final decision for you of what course you're gonna study, where you're gonna move, and all of that. While in Malaysia, I can see that parents are much more involved in the decision making for their kids' education and future. Even though that kid is sometimes already, you know, age-wise, more than an adult, you know? So that is a big, big difference, I would say. And then let me think what else.